Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning to you. It is Coffee Ann time once again. Thursday morning, it's October 5th. In the year 2023, my name is Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us this morning. With me is attorney Bob Lauder. Hello there, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Wait a minute.
Broke
Can
my
we hear
heart
it?
this morning, man.
How did I do that?
You told me that the days of Rodney Dangerfield and Henny Youngman are over, and when you're getting those jokes in the morning, it's
Could you fiddle with that mic cable a little?
my cable. Okay. That any better?
Oh, a little better. There we go. There we are.
Okay.
Much better now. Okay.
You're telling me that the days of Rodney Dangerfield and Henny Youngman are all over because you can't just deliver one-liners the way you used to. Man, that was my my go-to for making responses to people, and now they're gone.
Well, they'll cut you some slack, Bob, because you're of that generation. So that camera's not right either.
Yeah,
so
I walked into that one, didn't I? Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, those days are kind of behind us right now.
Me and Abe Lincoln.
You can still relive them all. Just go on YouTube and still, when I have nothing better to do, I will go on YouTube and I will watch Rodney Dangerfield on the Tonight Show from the '70s, and it's just fall on the floor laughing. It is so funny. And I said, now there was entertainment.
I got to do that.
Yeah, great stuff in that, and Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Don Rickles all on the Tonight Show was wow. What great stuff.
TV entertainment has changed so much over the last
It
30
has,
years.
yeah.
I don't watch very much television. I watch the news, but that's about as far as it goes.
Don't watch the news.
Well,
The
yeah.
news is depressing.
Well, I only take it for half hour at a time.
All right.
That's about the
Extent?
full amount, right?
And do you feel you've learned something after you watch the news?
What I have learned probably cannot be repeated on the air.
All right. So
I watch Lester Holt when he gives the terrible news that the world is falling apart. And by the end of the half hour, he's talking about some little league team in Sioux Falls, Idaho, and that's great.
all right. Well, as long as it makes you feel happy by the end.
They work hard at that.
All right. A couple of things that are going on in the news story. 14-year-old boy's in critical condition at Hasbro Children's Hospital. He was hit not by one car, but by two while riding his bike in Cranston.
Oh, geez.
Turns out, though, it sounds like it's really his fault. And here's a good lawyer question then for you, Bob. So the incident happened around 5:30 on Wednesday afternoon at Dyer Avenue and Bracken Street. And police investigating the crash say the bike rider failed to stop at that intersection. This guy
But
just
you're dealing
rolled
with a
right through it.
14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You're going to have problems of the drivers having a proper lookout and anticipating that somebody could be going through an intersection. I don't think this is going to be a clear-cut no liability on the part of the drivers.
Well, it says it failed to stop at the intersection, so I don't know if there's a stop sign or if there are lights at that intersection. I don't know that area of Cranston very well. So, but I was always taught as a kid, you on the bicycle is a vehicle, just like the car, and you have to adhere to the rules of the road. You stop at the red lights, you go on green. When you can't just blow through the intersection and expect to be, everything's okay.
You had good parents who wanted to make sure that you came home at night. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was all. I remember in elementary school, the Cumberland Police came to elementary schools to go over bike safety and bike rules of the road. Go with the flow of traffic and stop at the red lights.
I find it remarkable that I see so many people riding bicycles in the dark who are wearing dark clothing and are hard to see. And that goes also to people on the motorized wheelchairs. I've seen them in the dark with dark clothing. No reflectors on them.
No flashing lights at all?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's like a person's being extraordinarily, in my mind, careless about their life if they're riding in the dark and they don't have anything that reflects light to an oncoming car.
I saw this happen. Not to me. There was me in a car and another car in front of me, and then there was another car in front of that. So okay, and going very well, very slow, maybe about 20 miles an hour, because we had just turned onto a road from a stoplight, so we hadn't ramped up enough speed. But I saw a couple of kids dart across the road. And one kid made it, and the other kid almost made it, but the second car clipped his ankle.
Oh, jeez.
And he flipped around and fell down. So, a bunch of us called 911, including myself.
Good.
And they said, is anybody hurt? And I said, yeah, the kid got hit in his leg. Is it broke? They asked me, is it broke? I said, well, I'm no medical person, but if you were to ask me, I would say yes.
Okay.
So they came down, and now the police come, and there was me and the car in front of me and a car coming the other way. All three drivers, we all got out and we all said, this is, and the driver that hit the kid was distraught. I said, we all said, without teaming up, we all said, it is not the driver's fault. This kid ran across in front of the car. They had no way to stop. And so the police believed all three of us. That driver was not cited.
Good.
They said it was all the kid's fault who got I believe he got a broken ankle out of this.
Well, pedestrians are just as bad as, in my mind, as people on bicycles when they're not wearing something that reflects.
Yeah.
And sneakers. I would imagine the fancy sneakers reflect nowadays. Anything.
Kids' sneakers have lights in them that light up when you walk.
Whoa.
They don't have that for adults, though.
Darn. That would be so cool. Go into court with shoes.
Yes, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
So
I can see being down in the cells in the basement for contempt. Yeah.
So I've seen. I'm thinking this kid in Cranston. He might be at fault here for just not stopping.
I would
it's under
think there's going to be-
investigation. So
it's a concept called comparative negligence. Nobody may be 100% wrong or right.
Yeah.
If it were to go to a trial, it may be a finding where they say, okay, this percentage was on the part of the injured party, this percentage is on the part of the driver. It's not going to be good. And it's not good for the little guy who got hit either.
yeah, it's too bad he's in critical condition. And so usually you hear about people they usually get hit by one car.
Yeah.
Hit by two. Ouch.
Wow.
Don't know if you bounced off one, hit another, or run over by a second car. I don't know. So
I liked your other story this morning.
Which
about
one was
the,
that?
The wedding out in Kansas. Whoa.
Oh.
Jeez, man.
If you didn't hear that story, so a man's officiating at a wedding in Nebraska, and he's facing charges because he accidentally shot his 12-year-old grandson during the ceremony. According to Denton, Nebraska police, Michael Gardner attempted to shoot a revolver loaded with blanks into the air because he wanted to get the guests' attention and, quote, start the wedding with a bang, unquote.
This wasn't a shotgun wedding, was it?
Maybe, but apparently the gun slipped and he shot his grandson in the shoulder. Now, I don't know guns. So if you have blanks in the gun, so there's something actually in there.
Yes, there is.
And so that's what hit his grandson.
A blank has a wad of cardboard or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Way back, 35 years ago, there was a famous movie star, John Eric Hexum, who managed to kill himself using a blank gun. He was on the set of, I think the TV series is called Cover Up, and allegedly he took the gun which was loaded with blanks for a particular scene, and put it to his head like Russian roulette, and it had the cartridge in it, and the wad of paper went into his brain and killed him. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
They are very dangerous.
Okay. Yeah. The grandson was hit in the shoulder with whatever was in the blank, and but his injuries are not life-threatening. No word on whether or not the wedding went off without a hitch. But he's facing charges. What charge could he face for?
I would imagine it would start off with danger to a child.
Okay.
Something along those lines, yeah. But that little kid is just lucky as heck, because the distance between your shoulder and your head is like 8 to 9 inches. Mm-hmm. And the guy was not aiming, obviously. He just was fooling around with it, and it went off.
You figure he shoot it up in the air.
Good morning.
But he didn't do that. I guess he shot it out.
I don't know. Maybe when he was raising his arm to aim it into the air, he pulled the
slipped.
trigger.
Maybe that's true. I was going to go put it up,
Right.
but it slipped.
But the little kid is real lucky he wasn't more seriously hurt, because
Very
there's
lucky.
a very short distance between your shoulder and your head.
You're right about that there.
Wow.
Bob. All right, so
Sue is
But
coming.
you just never know what's going to happen at a wedding when you go to one, right? You just never know
Yeah.
who's going to
Oh, I
get
could
shot.
tell you wedding stories.
Whoa. You look great this
Whoa.
morning.
Thank you.
Hi, Sue. How are you?
Fabulous, and you?
Now, how has anyone ever been shot at a wedding that back in your limo days?
Very close.
Oh, really?
They
Oh,
just
really?
all ended up getting arrested.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. They it was in Milford, Mass. I remember like it was yesterday. So I had to pick up the guys, bring them to the church, and they were already wasted.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I had to go get the girls, and they kept asking me. You know, I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Ask you about are the guys drunk?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
was just like, no, they seemed okay. They seemed happy. You know, I just, you know.
That's way to skirt the issue.
Yeah, so we get there, and now she sees that they are all quite drunk. As a matter of fact, her father had taken them out for more cocktails. So they weren't there when we got there. There were just a couple of the guys that were still there. So anyway, after the wedding, the groom is, now these people had been together for like 12 years. And then after the wedding, you know how you're hugging people and, you know, congrats and all this. And I'm standing back because I'm just the limo driver. And he is literally grabbing every woman's butt as they were hugging. Now, I don't even know if she knew this because I'm on the other side. And so anyway, now I get everybody into the car, and one of the guys had to ride up front with me because he was probably the most drunk. And they said, nope, we're not giving him a ride. We're not giving him. Now he ends up in my car.
Oh, jeez.
And that was the last time I ever wore a skirt uniform to do a wedding, because as I was driving, he pulled up my skirt.
Whoa.
I quickly pulled over and made him get out of the vehicle. And I told the bride, sorry, he's out, not happening. And that was it.
Wow, what a great
And
story.
yep, I heard about 8 months later, I ran into somebody in the
Yeah.
wedding, and they were like, oh my God, you missed the best part. The guys were so bad. So most of the guys got arrested, including the father of the groom, The bride said, I'm out. And she went to her honeymoon
On it by
with her
herself?
maid of honor.
Wow.
Went on the honeymoon, and they got annulled. And they
Annulled.
were together 12 years.
What a great story.
Oh, I have many, but that was one of the more memorable
Yeah.
You're
ones.
driving along a street,
Yeah.
and you see this guy wearing a tuxedo,
Walking down
drunk
the
as it can be, trying to hitch a ride. Are you going to pull over and say, hey, can I help you out?
No.
Well, one can only hope that because of the direction I was heading was the same direction that the rest of the wedding
Yeah.
was going to the hall.
Maybe someone else will give him a ride.
Right. So that's I was like, I'm not having it.
Because he had to get there to get arrested. So.
Yeah, exactly. He got there. Yeah, and it was just like, look, that's no.
All right, we got to take a break, but one more question for Sue. Not just that wedding, but any of the parties that you've partaken in, taking people in your limo. Anyone ever get physically sick inside the car?
Oh, for God's sake, yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there was a special charge.
You added
for
an extra
that.
charge? Okay,
oh,
yeah,
there
go
was an
ahead.
extra
Extra
charge
$100
for
to clean
that.
the car.
We prorated it. We kind of looked at how bad it was. What
right.
do I need to dispose of property? Do I need
Yeah.
to get a specialist in to clean? So yeah.
Wow. Trials and tribulations of being a limo.
Your wedding
limo
and my
service.
wedding must have been real tame. I mean,
Mine was dull compared to this.
yeah.
Oh, we've had some doozies. Some doozies.
I bet. All right, we're gonna take
Well,
a.
you know, when
what's that?
when Sue has the car, maybe she could put lawyers' cards in the back.
In the back
so that,
seat,
you know,
right.
if the wedding doesn't work out, here's a good divorce lawyer in town. Yeah.
Here's a business card.
That's a great marketing idea for you, Bob. Right there.
Oh, I will tell you
Right.
one other thing. We rented a limo one time to go to the Boston airport. Nice car, and in the back seat they have those little sticks that you use to stir drinks.
Yeah.
And the sticks all have little fragments on the top of brides and grooms. And I was thinking, what do they do when they're doing a funeral? Do they have these little sticks with skull and crossbones on
Well,
the top?
I think you were in my car.
Oh, okay.
Because we had the little bride and groom drink stirrers that said classic limousine with
Okay.
the phone number. And No, we would take them out. We wouldn't put them in for every job. But,
Oh, rats. I was thinking for a funeral, there'd be a little
yeah.
skull and
But
crossbones
we'd
on
leave
the
them in
top.
because people could drink. So if they wanted to mix a drink, they had their drink stirrer.
It was a great idea.
All right, more coffee ads coming your way. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
Remote car starters are great to have in the summertime. They can cool off the inside of your car when the sun is blazing. Stop by Inferno Audio on Clinton Street in Woonsocket and speak to Keith about how easy it is to have a remote car starter installed in your vehicle. Now, if your air conditioner isn't working in your car, no problemo. Inferno Audio can make it work. So don't drive around with a hot car burning your fingertips. That's not safe. Plus, they can make car keys for any make or model of vehicle, and the price will be far less than the dealership would tell you. Stop in today and see Keith at Inferno Audio, 160 Clinton Street, Woonsocket, just next to KFC.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first, and he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
All right, it's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. And we just heard the ad for Scott McGee. We're going to put it up on our website and on our stream right here for the current house that he's got available. This is in Woonsocket at 144 Oregon Avenue in Woonsocket. Price on this little beauty is $349.9, and it was built in 1925. It's two bedroom home, 1.5 baths, and 1,300 square feet. So we're looking at the outside of the house there right now. Let me move this up.
That looks very nice.
Yeah, with a detached garage and looks like a one-car garage. So we're moving on. There's another shot of the outside of the house, and now there's the inside. Looking at the kitchen and the refrigerator and the sink, and an island in the middle, microwave above the shelves, little chairs, stools along the island in the middle of the kitchen. Very modern looking, huh? Mm-hmm. Wooden slat floors there, and there's a shot of going to the back of the house through the sliding glass door through the kitchen. Looking into the living area right there. There is the living area with a couch and a couple of chairs right there. And let's see what else we got here. And TV hanging on the wall. Nice big area. That's a shot of the door going to the outside. So very nice. Very nice.
I like the fact it has
$349.9.
that porch on the back. That's neat.
Sure is. So get a hold of Scott
Eat
McGee.
out there in the summertime. Good.
And I don't sing, so hang on for a minute. Bob, do you want to sing?
Yeah, right.
401
You do want to keep your license, right?
639-2906 is the number for Scott McGee. All right, let's see. So one of the bigger stories today is, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but they're having the Army-Navy football game at Gillette Stadium.
That's surprising.
It is. You figured it would either be played at West Point or down in Annapolis.
Right.
But I guess I guess they move it around the country.
Wow.
For whatever reason, they bring the cadets in from both sides, and it's a big to do. So anyway, it's up here at Gillette.
How many people do they expect to attend that? Because
They
Gillette
probably
is huge.
They want to sell it out, probably.
Wow, I wouldn't have.
Gillette can
wouldn't
sit
have
about
thought that-
68,000. There
I
are
wouldn't
bigger
have thought the
stadiums.
Army-Navy game would have had that much outside interest. That's great.
Okay. Well, it brings in a lot of veterans, and and here lies the problem. because Massachusetts is letting in a lot of the migrants, the illegal migrants coming into the country. They're living at hotels, and now people that had reservations for hotels or want to get reservations for hotels to go to the game can't get them because the hotel rooms they're all taken by the families of the illegal migrants that have shown up.
Out in the Foxborough area, that's a surprise.
Well, there's a few right along Route 1. There's one right at Patriot Place.
Okay.
But there's a few of your lesser known hotels, independently owned, operated
Right.
ones. No big real names except the one that is at Patriot Place. I think that's a Marriott, but I'm not positive on that. But they just got there's a problem. They can't find hotel rooms. 'Cause
Wow.
they're all taken.
Well, there's that guy John Mansfield. Now, he has a house with extra rooms. Maybe he can go to an Airbnb or something.
Well, I got one extra room.
Right?
Hey, it'll
Well-
bring in a few bucks.
Well, on the Cape, so I was reading a story
Yeah.
of a place that I've actually stayed at in Yarmouth that also had people living there. So it's a rather large, I'm just going to say the name, it's Yarmouth Resort.
Okay.
And looks very nice and so on, but it appears to me, because I've stayed there more than once, and the second time I stayed there I wasn't thrilled. It appears that there are different sections of the property that is for renters, not just renting a hotel room, but living there. The rate was phenomenal for these people. A few of them were elderly that couldn't find a place to live. So they were paying, and I'm just going to use numbers, okay? They were paying, say, $400 a month to live there. And all of a sudden, the migrants needed place. So they got rid of the renters, the tenants, jacked the price double to get the migrants in.
Wow.
So that is similar, but even worse, because these are people that lived there. And some were elderly. One in particular was an elderly woman, which is what I had read about. And it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it's not just, and I could go on, but it's not just the fact that migrants are taking hotel rooms. It's the fact that they're being handed everything that people here need and are not getting.
Okay. I forgot to
I-
mention.
I
just
would-
a minute, Bob. I forgot to mention this segment of Coffee and sponsored by the Call newspaper. Want to say something nice about the Call, Sue?
Okay, people, we are busy as can be. I have still got to contact so many people that have been voted in one of the top 3 establishments, whether it's a restaurant or financial advisor, whatever the case is, nail salon. So if you haven't been contacted and you would like to know if you are one of the top 3, just give me a call. Call my cell, 401-487-4136. If you need anything within the building, back editions of the newspaper, again, call my cell phone, 487-4136.
All right. Are you going to say something, Bob?
Well, yes, I was going to say, first of all, I don't think you can blame the facility owner for trying to maximize the amount of income they get, because if you're able to rent to the state for $800 rather than to a private individual for $400, I think the natural tendency would be, yeah, I'll
for
rent
the
to
money.
the state for the $800. I don't know how much the migrants are being given everything they need. As I read an article about the migrants in Chicago, and I think they said there were 2,300 of them who were bunking out in police stations throughout the city. Bunking out in the police station is not exactly my idea of lavish living. They may be getting some type of food from various food pantries and organizations, but it's not living in the same caliber that it would be if these people could get jobs. And I would think with the great number of jobs that are available, there was articles about how there are not enough farm workers in various parts of the Midwest and down south at the various chicken processing plants and things like that. There's jobs available for people who don't have to have particularly great skills. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
I would hope that agencies could direct the people in to get some of the jobs so they can become self-sustaining.
Okay, but my point with the hotel is this. You, as the hotel owner, I understand and agree with what you're saying, but it's like, I'll just throw in my limo days. If I had a wedding booked and all I was going to make was $150, and I had another person call me and say, hey, I want you to go to New York, I'm going to give you $1,000. I'm not taking $1,000. I'm doing that commitment of 125. So by giving the hotel rooms, by taking them from people that live there, you are now a contributor to the bigger problem, which in fact is homelessness, because now all those people have no place to go either. So, don't misunderstand when I say, I'm not one of those that says they get everything. Da-da. They're getting everything they need right now, whether it's food, a roof over their head, a bed, or whatever. Do I think it's a very sad situation? 100% it is. But to take people that have been living there for a number of years and throw them out to gain access to more money, you're a contributor to the problem. Whether it's a migrant problem or a homeless problem, you are a contributor to the problem. That's what I'm having an issue with.
Okay.
All right. Now, in terms of what's going on here in Massachusetts, because he wants to just keep getting his name out there,
Who's that?
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
He's in Massachusetts.
No.
Lucky us.
No, but he's criticizing Massachusetts.
What? We didn't take any more of the
course he
migrants
is.
on Martha's
No, he's
Vineyard?
criticizing Massachusetts over reports that veterans cannot find hotel rooms for the Army-Navy game because they're full of migrants.
My goodness.
He's-
I am
he's
so
against
glad that
migrants,
he's involved in Massachusetts. It makes me feel all warm and confident that
fuzzy.
Massachusetts is going to be going in the right direction.
The Republican presidential candidate says he's outraged.
Outraged, my goodness.
Outraged veterans cannot find rooms because hotels are housing illegal immigrants on the dime of taxpayers. Now, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey says that she was troubled to learn of veterans losing their hotel rooms, says her office is looking to help those who have been affected. So it's so strongly
wouldn't-
worded by Maura.
You wouldn't say posturing on both sides, but if one were walking out into the field, you're looking at a couple of scarecrows standing on one leg and pirouetting. Okay. I'm cynical on both of them.
Oh, okay. The
Me too.
you brought it up. I think it was the mayor of Chicago, and I can't remember the mayor's name.
I can't either.
Said we can't take any more migrants. Like you said, they're living in the jail cells. So it's time to, I guess, and New York says we can't take any more. Well, there's plenty of other cities to go to. Like you said in the South. Are they going to Atlanta, Georgia? Are they going over to Memphis, Tennessee? How about Little Rock, Arkansas? Are they heading to these places? Why are they going to these huge, huge cities?
Well, part of it, excuse me, I think was a concerted effort on the part of Governor Abbott of Texas to move migrants into northern cities to try and make it more evident to people who are not immediately affected by the migrants that it is a problem nationwide. So that may be part of the reason, but it is an issue. I think we have to address it, and we have to try to address it from 2 points of view. One is national security. Yes, you can't necessarily have huge numbers of people coming into the country if they don't have any kind of facilities or people who are going to help them out and get them established. And I think we ought to also be working on the establishment part. How can we get these people so that they can get jobs, so they can rent apartments, so they can support their families and pay taxes?
All right, let me play a devil's advocate on this one.
Yeah,
what's so bad? What's going on in these other countries that it's so awful that they are making this thousands of mile trek to get to the United States?
Well, I think that probably only those people who are coming across and taking this kind of a risk believe that their life would be better once they get here. Now, what is better? Venezuela apparently has a great deal of crime and instability economically, and that is a surprise to me because I remember back in the 50s and 60s when Venezuela was a very prosperous country because of the oil industry they had down there. I remember friends of my parents who had worked in Venezuela in an oil company, executive offices, and the country was great. It's not that way any longer. Mm-hmm. So there's problems in those countries. I don't know why, but at the same time, I look back in my own family tree, and my grandparents came to this country from the UK back in 1902, I think, and they were attempting to get to better themselves.
All right.
So, and the UK wasn't in terrible financial crisis at the time, but it was a better job for my grandfather. So,
Any thoughts on that, Sue? Or what's so bad in the other countries?
You know, I often wonder the same thing because, you know, people have been migrating to the United States for, like you just said, you know, 1902. You know, people coming down from Canada, our grandparents and their grandparents, and so on. I think the bottom line is doing so legally. Doing so legally. I have no problem with anybody coming to this country, and I think that's what many people have a problem with. It's doing it legally, not just opening the borders and letting people come in, just legally.
All right. The mayor of the city of Woonsocket has strolled on into the coffee and program.
I was
morning.
going to say she strutted in, but you know.
Well, they tell us to come at 8:30 instead of 8, and then we're like, we can't. We have a lot to say.
you know, those two outshine. We got to start dressing up better, man.
Right?
I mean, they look great. We
That's
look
why
like,
I said she
looks
strutted
fine.
in. She's got the pink.
No,
Wait, you look fine.
You know,
Come on.
fashionable.
no, everyone looks perfectly fine.
And he's got a tie
Yes,
on.
you've got a tie
Thank you,
on.
Jimmy
You're more
Ford.
dressed than anyone.
I know.
doesn't
All
have
right.
the same impact. No.
We did get one note that was called in. It just says, turn them all away at the border now. It's just tough to do when so many are coming at one time. We started it all. It's all over now. Now it's a cancer. Okay. We're going to take a break. We are going to talk to the mayor, but Sue, it's time for a second message from the Call newspaper, please.
I always get so put on the spot. Okay, back again. You know, vote for us is now. If you want to thank your voters, thank our readers, thank your customers for voting you number one, now is the time. Call me 487-4136. Our building is still under construction. It is going to be quite some time due to the fact it is a historical building. So that is where the problem is. People have been wondering why so long. It is because it's historical, and we have many other entities, you know, telling us what we can and can't do with the building. Not us, but the new buyers. But we are always reachable. You can call me at 487-4136. If you need circulation, it's 767-8522.
All right, Sue, thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue. It's time for a look at the forecast, being brought to you by Unbound.org.
Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 76 degrees and a calm wind. Tonight, increasingly cloudy, overnight low of 58. Friday's weather mostly cloudy with a high of 71. Saturday, cloudy skies, 66, a 60% chance of showers during the daytime, mainly after 2 p.m. Saturday night, 80% chance of more showers and rain, overnight low of 47 and a wind from the north, could gust up to 26 miles per hour Saturday night. Sunday, just like it didn't happen, mostly sunny skies and 59. And Columbus Day Monday, the Autumn Fest Parade Day, mostly sunny with a high of 59. Tuesday, back to work and school, mostly sunny and 62. And on Wednesday, mostly sunny and 62 again.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street under the cloudy skies. Looks like the fog has burned away. We have 63 degrees. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change the world, and it will change your own at unbound.org.
Hi, I'm Kathy LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket.
Yes, there are lots of food options at Autumn Fest, and everyone has their favorites they look forward to every year. But if you're new to Autumn Fest, let me recommend AJ's Catering. They offer those incredibly delicious Italian sausages with peppers and onions, if you like, or Philly cheesesteak and that wonderful melted cheese dripping all over it. AJ's Catering is a staple at Autumn Fest, so stop in and partake of their Italian sausages and Philly cheesesteak right off the grill. If you can't decide, have both. AJ's Catering.
Today's the day to nominate the best of the Blackstone Valley.com.
It is Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt to sue Tessie McKenzie from the call and Bob Lauder. And Bob, it's time for a first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to talk with you this morning about one portion of the trial currently taking place in the state of New York concerning the allegations against former President Trump's business organizations. There have been news reports which state that he has already lost the trial, and criticizing the lack of a jury to hear the evidence of both parties. It is true that there has not been a jury impaneled in this trial. Apparently, neither the prosecution nor the defense requested a jury trial. But more importantly, how can he have already lost the case, and what's going on now? When a case is brought before a court, either party has the right to file a motion for summary judgment. A summary judgment is a procedure whereby one or more of the parties alleges that on the evidence already on file in the judicial record before the court, there is sufficient evidence to establish that a party's right to a judgment without providing the opposing party an opportunity to contest that issue at a trial. Any motion for summary judgment must be accompanied by affidavits of the truth and accuracy of the documents submitted in substantiation of the motion. In making a decision as to whether or not to grant a motion for summary judgment, a judge must view those documents and evidence in the manner most favorable to the non-moving party. The party who opposes a motion for summary judgment carries the burden of proving, by competent evidence, the existence of a disputed material issue of fact, and cannot rest on allegations or denials in the pleadings or on conclusions or legal opinions. It appears that in the present trial taking place in New York, that once the state prosecutor made the motion for summary judgment, accompanied by the physical evidence and documentation of the alleged crimes, that the defense failed to provide, by competent evidence, the existence of any disputed material issue of fact, and consequently a judgment was entered which found the business organization guilty of the alleged crimes. The present trial will determine the amount of financial sanctions which may be imposed. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please contact me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of the law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
It's too bad you don't practice law in New York, Bob. You could be on Trump's defense team. Wouldn't that be great?
I would want to get paid up front.
Well, that's fine. That's your prerogative, I guess.
I've read of the tremendous amounts of legal fees that various defendants in these cases are having. Apparently,
Yeah.
Hunter Biden allegedly owes about $10 million in legal fees. And
Wow.
Rudy Giuliani owes that or more in legal fees.
I've heard that about Rudy, and that he's behind in payments.
I like their billing cycles. I just think they should have been getting the check across the desk at the start.
As long as it doesn't bounce, right?
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt is here with us, and first thing I wanted to ask her, because not that it was happening here in Woonsocket, but it happened down in Providence, where they went in and they're getting a lot of protests down in Providence about homeless encampments. And we've had our own issues up here in Woonsocket with that as well. Anything you want to add to what's going on with the homeless situation here in the city?
Actually, well, I think everyone is aware that we visited a few of the sites, and we did include the Social Service Agency, Community Care Alliance. We invited them to attend. The CEO declined to do that on 2 occasions. And we have, I've said it before, it's a multifaceted issue. It's not just about the homelessness part of it. There is, maybe it is for the Social Service Agency, but as the mayor of the city, it is far beyond just homelessness. It's the fact that we have environmentalists who are unhappy with the fact that our river is being polluted with clothing and feces and food containers and styrofoam and things such as that. We've pulled out baby carriages, which are not used for babies. Usually it's to transport things, blankets. So it's residents who are calling and reaching out who are upset because they can look out their window, they can see the encampments, they're uneasy with it, and they have children or grandchildren coming over. Some of the folks have drug addiction, and they're watching them inject into themselves in front of their children. So it's not just about the actual homelessness part where people say you shouldn't remove the encampments. And it's also about the fact that for the most part, you're dealing with, not for the most part, but in some cases, you're dealing with people who have drug addiction, alcohol problems, mental health problems. So living under a bridge is not helping that cause for them. So this is a much bigger picture, and and others are working in silos. You know, their issue is the social service agency. This one is the environment. This one is the resident. This one is, you know, the river. So it all comes into one big circle for me and my administration. But we also have the issue of you have your home. You all have our homes. If somebody just came to your home and decided, I'm going to sleep on your property, you have the right to say, no, you cannot do that. I can't just go sleep on your property if I want to. And so now we're getting into where people are sleeping on city property. They're sleeping on private property. They're sleeping on state property. And along with that comes the responsibility if something happens on that property. You're aware they're on that property. You allowed it to happen. We're dealing with folks who are there who are registered sex offenders. Now, that's problematic as well, especially if they're on your property. So it is a bigger problem than meets the eye of that one-dimensional issue that a particular group or person may have. So we are working through. I can tell you that we feel that we've found a way to offer help to those who may want to go to inpatient rehab, and it's very expensive to go. And if you don't have the funding to go, you may not be able to get in. So we did ask, in fact, at the first encampment we went to, everyone was asked, would you like to go to inpatient rehab? Would you like to go to try to get help? Try to hit the reset button, start your life over, and, you know, there'll be assistance with you. Eventually, one day, you know, you'd be working, getting a paycheck, but you certainly wouldn't be living in this situation. And
What's their response?
nobody wanted to go.
Yeah.
No one wants to go. And with addictions, you have to be ready to go. You can't force someone to go. They have to go when they're ready to go. So even though they all said no, at least they know the option is there if the day comes. But in the meantime, what is happening, where the funds are going, and how those funds are being expended, in my eyes, personally, from what I see, what I hear, what I read, and all the exposure we have, I mean, this is something that is in my administration every single day. It wasn't that way when I first got elected. It is now. And we can't just sit back and pretend it's not happening. So I don't feel that the funding that is going to particular areas is effective. And also, there are issues with laws that need to be changed in Rhode Island pertaining to, you know, our police officers, our firefighters, they're frustrated. You know, you become an EMT, you become a police officer, firefighter, you're not expecting that a good part of your runs are going under bridges, to people who are intoxicated on sidewalks, the repeat calls for the same people.
Or they're overdosing.
Or they're overdosing. They're actually administering Narcan twice in the same day to the same person who's overdosed.
Wow.
So what's happening is, or a police officer, they pick you up for something, driving without a license 3 times. What can they do? They arrest you, you're back out, because the laws have changed. So there's no consequence. Years ago, and I can't remember, my mind is, I'm slipping on the name of it, and I don't want to use the wrong facility name, but people who had problems like this were sent to this particular facility, whether it was mental health or what have you. And that's where they had to stay. And they got the services they needed. They were fed properly. They showered. They went to their psychiatrist, the psychologist. They learned life skills. Arresting them to put them back on the street Our police officers are frustrated. We across the state, you speak to chiefs on fire and police side, nobody wants to even apply the numbers. Years ago, we'd administer tests to 400 people who wanted to be police officers and firefighters. Our last test, I think we had 15. Because what's happening across the country with police, the disrespect, the accusations. Now, are there police officers who are not, maybe they're a bad apple? Yes. Do I feel we have those in our department? Absolutely not. But we shouldn't stand down because the rest of the country is standing down. We need to enforce the law in our city. That's what the residents want. And I know I'm kind of off base from the homelessness, but it's a whole package of public safety. So 45,000 people live in the city of Woonsocket. If we have 60 or 70 homeless, we can't allow that to control the quality of life for the people who live here.
All right, we're gonna take a break here on Coffee and. So, Bob, it's time for a second message, please, from your law office, and then we'll get back to more what's going on here in the city.
Well, the good mayor just made you good reasons why I will never run for public office. Wow, that is a lot of work. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. A few minutes ago, I talked with you about the concept of summary judgment and the elements which must be considered by a court in determining whether or not to grant a summary judgment to a moving party. Summary judgments are not slam-dunk pleadings. And Joe can tell me later what this sports term means. Let me tell you about a recent case of Hool versus Liberty Insurance Corporation. In the Hool case, the roof of the insured's home collapsed as a result of snow and ice. The insurance adjuster estimated the cost of repairs at $18,000. The homeowner submitted proof of loss statements totaling $193,000. The insurance company then hired an engineering firm that estimated the cost of repairs at $53,000. The insurance policy had a clause in it that said that the unresolved disputes would be submitted to an umpire, but the parties couldn't agree upon an umpire. The homeowner filed a complaint in the Superior Court, and after hearing the parties, entered a consent decree selecting an umpire. There was an appraisal hearing thereafter, and the homeowners were awarded $81,000 for the appraisal panel. Thereafter, there was allegations filed by the plaintiff to amend their complaint. They submitted facts that the plaintiffs, when I turn my paper upside down, I can't read it any better than I read it before. The homeowners filed an amended complaint alleging the insurance company had breached the terms of the policy by not performing a full and complete investigation. The defendant filed a motion for summary judgment on the pleadings and argued that the allegations of the plaintiff and the facts submitted by the plaintiff were insufficient to prove that the insurance company had acted in bad faith, and summary judgment should not be entered for the defendant, and summary judgment should be entered for the defendant. At the trial hearing, the trial court agreed with the defendant and dismissed the plaintiff's complaint. The plaintiff took an appeal to the state Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled that it's well established that with the terms of insurance policy are interpreted in accordance with the rules of construction that govern contracts, and whether a party has substantially performed or materially breached its contract obligations is usually a question of fact to be decided by a jury. In this case, even though the plaintiff had not identified any part of the policy that had been breached, when viewed in the light most favorable to the non-moving party, that is the homeowner, the court could not conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that the plaintiffs would not be able to prove facts at a trial that constituted a claim for the breach of contract. The summary judgment was vacated, and the issue was returned to the Superior Court for a trial on the merits. If you'd like to discuss this or other legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, a slam dunk is a basketball term,
Okay.
and it just means it's easy. It's an easy win. It's an easy 2 points.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Does it all make sense now?
Now it makes sense.
All right, perfect. More Coffee Hands coming up. Stay tuned.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, everybody. This is Linda Tebow for Aging Well in Woonsocket, inviting you all to a fun and special way to help us with our work at the Gaston Ayard Junior Senior Center. Join us for dinner and laughter as the famous Charlie Hall presents his hilarious look at aging well called Aging Disgracefully. What's more, Aging Disgracefully is at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Friday, October 20th. No nighttime driving. Seating at the Senior Center Hall on Social Street is limited, so get your tickets today. Thanks to the generous financial support of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Rhode Island, the tickets are only $30 for an afternoon of salad, dynamites, dessert, friends, and laughter you will never forget. Aging Disgracefully supports the health and wellness programs of Aging Well, Inc.
You can depend on us for public service, ON Radio.
All right, Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan with Bob Lotter, Sue Tester McKenzie, and Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt is here. What else is going on in the city you want to talk about, Mayor?
You want me to run through?
Run through, please. Bob's will be okay.
I want to make sure he's not choking, though.
He's not.
For real.
You okay, Bob?
Yes.
He
He's
did this
okay.
last week. That's why he brought the recallers in today.
Oh, okay. I know. Well, sometimes you cough, you just
Yeah.
can't get
Oh, that's
control
right.
of it,
That's
right?
right, yeah.
So, okay. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but we're going to keep mentioning it until it doesn't happen, which means we'll be mentioning it forever. But just a reminder, I know people let their guard down. Please lock your car doors, take your keys out, take whatever valuables are in view out of your car. So sometimes there are break-ins and sometimes there are just entering. If your car door is unlocked, they open, they take. So just eliminate the aggravation of that happening, right? Mm-hmm. The city is having its Eco Depot, which is on Saturday, October 28th from 8 to noon. And the Eco Depot collection, that's the Eco Depot Collection Day, although it is free for all Rhode Island residents, and that's down at Public Works Department, 1117 River Street.
What are some of the things they take under that?
So we're going to give a whole list, but they also will be collecting electronics as
Okay.
well, e-waste. They'll collect newspapers,
No paint.
paint,
Oh, paint.
yes, light
Yes.
bulbs, chemicals, all of that. Also, if you go by the entrance of Oak Grove across from Highland Corporate Park, we have construction there for new signage. We had the old sign that was there. I think it was pressure treated wood. It really saw its last day. That's a great area. I love that area. It's like a little village, all the houses in there. I think there are just under 300 houses. And it's like its own little community
Yep.
inside. It's really sweet. So that is under construction, and it'll be a very nice sign that will also have stonework with it as well. So they're working on that now. Councilman McGee and I kicked off on September 26th a program called SCORE RI, and I just want to mention that to anyone who is a small business, whether you're a small business that is already established or you're a small business or you're looking to open a small business. You don't really know which way to go, what to do. There are struggles. There's not a lot of money when you're getting going. And this particular group, they are working with, right now, they're working with women-owned and minority small business owners or those who want to open a business. They're working with that category because there was an actual grant for that. But this is the first time we've got them into the city. We were at the Higher Ed Center and kicked that off. But the important thing is we want people to know that SCORE RI is available to all small business, all business. And there are retired professionals, 60-something of them, and they have experience in different areas. There's a retired attorney. There's a retired marketing person. There's a retired tech person. And you say, my business is really good, except for the fact I don't know how to get my information out there. I'm not good at marketing. So they'll team you up. That will be your mentor. And you work with them, and it could be an accountant where you struggle with that. So it is no cost. It is no cost. So if you have interest in that, you can actually, you can call my office. We can give you the contact, or you can just Google SCORE, all capital letters, SCORE RI. So that is underway. Also, the state is doing some reconstruction work on Mendon Road, and they will be doing that until probably November when the weather starts to get too cold or snow, and they'll pick it up again next spring, and it'll go through probably the following November. So there's a lot of work happening there, and we're pleased that the state is on that. We already know they were a great partner, Director Alvidi and the Rhode Island Department of Transportation on the Manville Road project. We got that through. It was a great partnership with them, so we're very, very pleased with that. We are, hold on, I have one more thing here I want to share. I just want to say, we'll talk more about it later, but at another time, I should say. But the reaccreditation, I think we may have touched on it the last time with the police department.
Chief Oates was here last week.
Yeah,
and he mentioned it. And,
right,
he's
and
very happy.
did he talk about the flock cameras that we have in the city?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I just can't say enough about
How well
those
they're
cameras
working.
and how well they work. And there were some people who were apprehensive, and oh, you're going to put my number plate in there so you can track where I go, and it's just it's kind of silly, but I just want to say it has been so effective and such a relief, especially if someone's car has been stolen, their child is missing. Maybe a parent took the child. They're in a particular vehicle. A senior, or even not a senior, who may have some health issues. They got in their car. They drove away. They're not sure where they are. So when you put it into that flock system, maybe that person from Woonsocket drove through another community in the state, and if that state, that community has flock cameras, it's in their system as well. So this has been so hit and run accidents. People got the plate or a portion of the plate. They knew the color of the car, the make of the car. You put that in, it'll pick up the make, the color, and it has been extremely effective, and I'm really, really pleased that we moved forward with implementing that in the department.
Excellent. And the police chief said that they were reaccredited.
Yes.
Or, is that how you say it? Reaccredited?
It was a reaccreditation.
Oh, okay. I did get it right. And he was like, it's extensive what they got to go through to be reaccredited.
Exactly.
And so he was very happy that that they were able to, that happened with the police department. So
right.
And
a
that's
shout
great.
out to Lieutenant Norm Gallipo and to Sergeant Patrick Roy. They're the two leads who work on this, who compile the information. Everybody does the work in the department to get to the point to have the data and statistics to include, and then the advances that we make by adding things to the department, like flock cameras and, canines and bike patrol and putting motorcycles out on the street and community policing. So it's really a really great accomplishment.
All right. And I just, I was over at World War II Park, and speaking of community policing, a police officer walking around the park.
Yes.
So that's great that they're in there and that they're able to do that.
It's quality of life, right? So quality of life is a lot of things, and quality of life is you seeing that police officer at that park and knowing, that's the community part of policing. People think of a police officer, they're making arrests, they're stopping you, they're giving you a ticket, and things such as that. But we have, and the community policing part actually started with Chief Tom Carey, and we expanded on that, and we've grown it through Director Gillette, Chief Oates, Deputy Chief Caloro, and the importance of that to get people to recognize, no, we're here to help you. We're
Right.
only here to arrest the people who are not doing what they're supposed to do, or bad people who are harming you, right? So it's been a very the department has advanced substantially.
That's great. Well, we've run out of time here in the program. Sorry about that, but time flies by. So we got to run. So we thank you for listening in. So Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Sue Tesser McKenzie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Bob,
Rest
always
of the
nice,
week.
always nice to see you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Hope to see you next week.
See you at Autumn Fest, everyone.
That's right.
Oh, that's
Autumn Fest
right,
is this
yeah.
weekend. So I'll be there. So have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember is coming up at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. A young 14-year-old boy made a bad decision and is in critical condition at Hasbro Children's Hospital after being struck by 2 cars while he was riding his bike in Cranston. The incident happened around 5:30 in the afternoon Wednesday at Dyer Avenue and Bracken Street. Bracken Street is a bit of a hill, and the kid got up a lot of steam going down the hill and went right onto Dyer Street without stopping. Police investigating the crash say that the bike rider failed to stop completely. The cars had no choice but to hit him. In fact, he kind of hit them. They say the drivers, by the way, the kid was not wearing a helmet. They say the drivers of the cars remained at the scene as they ought to and cooperated completely. Did not appear to be impaired in any way.
Boss Ice